This is How to Buy a House for Beginners from Contract to Closing. Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany Weber, real estate attorney in Mooresville, North Carolina at Thomas & Weber. So today let's get into how to buy a house if you've never bought a house before. All right, so the first thing that you're gonna do is get your people. And by that, I mean your agent and your lender. So this is before you ever see a house, before you go under contract. So the agent's gonna be the one helping you find the house, making sure that you get in to tour the houses, help you decide on a price. And then your lender is gonna be the one that makes sure that you are finding a house that you can afford. So you're gonna go through that pre-qualification or pre-approval process, and your lender's gonna tell you, okay, maybe you can go all the way up to this, but you're really comfortable in this range right here. So maybe you should be looking at houses in this range. So that's step one. Get your people. The next thing you're gonna do is, when you start looking at houses, before you ever put in an offer, before you sign a contract, you are going to look at the restrictions. And by that, I mean, what are the things that you are not allowed to do with the property? Even properties without an HOA can have restrictions on what you are allowed to do with the property. So you need to be looking at those before you sign a contract. And the reason for that is because once you go under contract in North Carolina, it is commonplace that you are putting down some money. So that would be your due diligence deposit and your earnest money deposit. And the due diligence fee is money that you give up that's non-refundable but applied to your purchase price at closing. And it basically secures your right to check out the property. So you're buying some time in which the seller is not marketing the property to anyone else, not trying to get anyone else to buy it. You can do your inspections, your surveys, etc. And then provided you cancel the contract before the due diligence fee ends, you will get your earnest money back. So I'm abbreviating these as DD and EMD. So due diligence, earnest money deposit. So the due diligence fee is non-refundable unless there's a seller breach. Earnest money deposit is refundable provided you cancel before the end of the due diligence period. If you cancel after that, you also lose your earnest money deposit. Now, both of those fees, if you close, are applied to the purchase price at closing. So if you close, you don't lose it. It's just you give it up front. So be smart about your deposits. Work with your agent, make sure that you're not putting up too much money that if you have to cancel would make it so that you cannot afford your next house or not afford to be able to pay your bills, etc. Now, once you are under contract, be responsive to your people. So in this case, we're gonna add another. Once you're under contract, you got one more to add to that, and that's gonna be your attorney. So be responsive to your agent, to your lender, and to your attorney. Answer those people and do so in a timely manner and accurately. Now, this next thing, basically everybody involved in the process agrees on this point, and it's get your inspections. Don't skimp out on inspections because you're trying to cut corners, because you may find out things that the seller is required by law to fix or by the contract to fix. You may find out there's some issue with the survey. There are all kinds of things that these inspections and surveys can reveal that will protect you down the road. The less surprises, the better. All right, now let's talk about leading up to the closing and closing day. So one thing that's gonna be really important is that you schedule accordingly, because you don't get the keys until the deed records, and the seller doesn't get paid until the deed records. So this is important because the things that need to happen before the deed can record is all of your funds have to be irrevocably credited to the attorney's trust account. Then the deed can record, then the buyer can get possession and the seller can get paid. So if you want to record on the same day that you close, how do you do that? You wire the funds to the attorney's trust account before you get to the closing table, because the seller is not obligated to give you the keys at the closing table. They're not obligated to give you the keys until the deed has recorded. So if your movers are in the parking lot at our closing office and you're expecting to just drive right over to your new house and start moving in the second you finish signing that last page, most likely that's not going to happen. You might get lucky. A seller may say, go ahead, no problem with us, but that is not the standard and it is not required. So plan and schedule accordingly. Also, review your closing statement with your agent before you get to the closing table. Now, the attorney is going to go over the closing statement with you, but in my experience, just the comfort level of buyers, whether it's their first home or their fifth home, is much, much better when they have gone over the closing statement in advance with their agent. Otherwise, make sure you find, all going back to the beginning, good people to be your trusted guides through the process. Lean on them, ask them questions, let them help you understand from contract to close how all of this is going to work. So that is your guide for how to buy a house for beginners. If you want other tips on how to buy a house, check out this video over here. See you in the next video.